remember I got the initial audition, which was, I hope I'm not screaming, by the way. I have both AirPods in, so I don't know how loud I'm talking.
Sound good. What's good? Thank you so much for tuning into this bonus interview episode of The Newest Olympian. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm the titular Newest Olympian. I'm a grown man who never read the Percy Jackson books as a kid. I read them as an adult, I watched the show, and now I have the wonderful opportunity to talk to people who were a part of that show. And one of the folks that I am so excited to have on the podcast here is someone that you have seen in the TV show as Luke. It's Charlie Bushnell. Charlie, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm doing well. I'm happy to have you on the show. I've got a whole bunch of questions lined up for you. So let's start with the first one. First of all, how dare you? How dare you make me like Luke again? I read all the books. I loved him in the beginning. We have the plot twist. I knew that I hated him by the end. Once you know, the narrator's like, oh, don't trust the gifts. I was like, I hate Luke. All my homies hate Luke. And now episode 2 of the show comes out and I'm like, man, I'm back.
Yeah.
I was all in. I mean, even going back to auditioning, like, was that something part of the process? Like, hello, you're going to have to be supremely likable and then also supremely hateable later on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, in the audition process, I remember, just the whole audition process. I remember I got the initial audition, which was, it was the scene where Luke is giving the shoes to Percy before he goes off on the quest.
Nice.
And there was actually a lot more in that scene for the audition. And I think there was in the show as well, but I think they cut some of it because, I don't know, some of it might have given a little too much away.
Yeah.
Because Luke definitely gives more of his backstory in that moment. And we see definitely a darker side of Luke, at least in the audition scene. Mm-hmm. And then when I met with like Dan Schatz and John Steinberg and James Bowman for that like final test, that was definitely something we talked about. And then obviously on set, we talked about it as well with Rick and everyone. And we just really wanted Luke to kind of come across as this nice guy and like this definitely like the older brother mentor figure to Percy. Because obviously I'm sure a lot of people who watched the show read the books and so they knew what was coming. But for the people who didn't read the books, we definitely wanted them to still be surprised at the end. And I hope some people still were. But yeah, we for sure wanted to kind of have Luke just be like this likable guy in the beginning so that it hurt that much more in the end.
Totally. I mean, I think you absolutely nailed it. And when I saw your performance as Luke, when he was nice and cool Luke, I just thought like, man, he's absolutely hit it out of the park. Luke is supremely cool. But now I was never cool in high school, but I've come to learn that the first rule of being cool. Now, I thank you.
I bet you were.
But I think the thing is about being cool is you can't act cool. You just have to be cool. But the problem is you are acting by being an actor. So what do you have to do in order to act cool without acting cool?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just, I feel like I'm such a chill guy in my real everyday life. And so I feel like I definitely just brought a lot of that to Luke as well. Because, I think for Percy, at least in the beginning, Luke kind of is like this, almost like the calm, not the calm before the storm, but like the calm in the middle of the storm, maybe.
Yeah, well, like Percy's in a spot where he doesn't know what's going on, and Luke knows everything that's going on. So he's kind of bringing him back down.
Like, Percy's been through a lot, like in the past, literally day or two. I mean, he lost his mom, fought the Minotaur. Like, it's been a hectic couple of days. He found out he was a demigod. Like, that's a hard pill to swallow. And then he meets Luke, and Luke kind of just makes him feel like it's all going to be okay, And so I think just kind of bringing that like chill energy to it was something that I think I wanted to achieve. I'll say I'm not a very cool guy in real life myself. Like,
also untrue. This is the true lie.
I would say I'm chill. I don't know about cool. I don't know if I got that like swagger yet.
Okay.
Still working on it. But yeah, I don't know. I think just bringing that kind of calming energy was something that was helpful.
Yeah, I think it was there. And I think it's a different vibe from the Luke that at least I had in my brain when I was reading the book. Because I feel like at least what Rick had written is more of kind of like your stereotypical like surfer dude kind of cool. But the cool that you brought felt chill, I think is the perfect phrasing of it. And I think that that works in a more like modern setting. Because if you came in and you were basically like the cowabunga dude guy that Luke kind of is in the book, it would have been like, who is this person from 15 years ago? What is happening? So I think it worked.
Yeah, that's true.
So you hadn't necessarily read all of the series and dove into it until after being cast. But once you did, I saw another interview that you are now a full-fledged fan of it. When you had friends and family watching the show, did you tell them the plot twist, or did you keep it close to the vest of like, I'm not going to let them know that Luke is evil in the end?
I definitely told my family. I mean, yeah, and even though I didn't read the books myself until I found out I got the role, my mom read the first couple to my brother and I when we were younger, and I remember that. And so I've been aware of Percy Jackson for as long as I can remember, and definitely had a little understanding of that world. Yeah, and so I kind of already knew who Luke was going into it and his arc, but yeah, when I found out I got the role, I mean, you know, I get to play like the quote unquote villain, you know, and so I was like, I had to share it with some people, because it's too cool, and I just wanted to. I don't think that was something I could just keep in, but there were definitely some other people that I tried to keep it a secret until the end, who weren't too familiar with Percy Jackson. I probably should have kept it more of a secret from my family, because I remember this one time I think it was for episode 3. Episode 3 was about to drop, and we had a little bit of a watch party. Like, some of my friends came over, and I have a couple neighbors across the street, and they have 2 young kids who are now like huge Percy Jackson fans after watching the show. But at that point, like, they had only seen the first 2 episodes, and they came over to watch the 3rd episode with us. And so we were kind of having like this big watch party, and my dad just started talking about the betrayal in the end, but like the parents and the young kids, like, they didn't know that was coming, and he totally spoiled it for them. But hopefully they didn't hear too much, and they were still surprised. But I was like, bro, you can't be saying that. Like,
oh, how are they going to CGI your eyes to be golden?
I was like, what are you talking about?
With someone Kronos, who's actually the villain at the end of this season, comes into play. It's such a dad move. I love it though. I love it.
Yeah, he was not proud of himself after that, but it's okay. We all make mistakes.
It's fine. It's all fine. Yeah. So speaking of the twist, I think something that's fun in the show is that they change it a little bit from the book. In the book, it's just Percy and Luke, and then also his good friend, the Scorpion. But in this case, in the TV show, we've got Annabeth instead. Yeah. Are you excited for just the new direction that the Luke and Annabeth dynamic is going to take? Because obviously they can't make it exactly the same as the book now. She's seen Luke show his true colors. Yeah, very true. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where they go with that. Yeah, because like you said, I feel like Annabeth throughout in the books, at least throughout the whole story, she's sort of in denial about Luke for most of it. And doesn't want to believe that he is this guy, and I think she's still holding on to hope that, you know, he'll change his mind one day. But yeah, I mean, the fact that she like saw it with her own eyes and heard everything, and I mean, she was even willing to like kind of kill Luke in that moment for Percy. Like, she chucked the blade at him. Just chucked the dagger that he gave her, I think. Very rude. Yeah, like, wow, just re-gifting it to me. Man. Return to sender. Dang. No, but no, it's understandable. Understandable why she would do that. But it is definitely going to add a different dynamic, because yeah, like, she was in denial for it in the books, and so, but now it's like, I'm excited to see where they take their relationship. Like, is she just going to be like a Luke hater now? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think, of course, there will still be aspects of that denial, because they do share such a long history and they've been through so much together, and so I think it'll still be hard for both of them to process, especially her, like, what's going on. But yeah, I'm definitely just excited to explore more of Luke and Annabeth's relationship in the future, and especially in like the Titan's Curse, because obviously the books are told through Percy's perspective,
And so there's a lot we didn't get to see in the Titan's Curse between Luke and Annabeth, but they're pretty much together throughout the whole book.
Right.
And so I'm sure there's going to be some cool interactions and conversations that we'll get to see when hopefully we get around to season 3. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we do get there. I think that'll be cool. I think it'll be fun to see how that relationship develops in the future, if they do flashbacks in the past as well.
Yeah.
I think there will be a lot of really fun elements. Speaking of season 3, are you excited to potentially, if they go this route, have the gray streaks in the hair come through?
If
they do that after he's holding up the world?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that would look really cool. I don't know how I would design it, but if there's just like a few like gray streaks, I think that'd be cool. Something I even thought about was like, you know, kind of in lieu of, you know, just looking forward to the future about Luke's, you know, one day he's going to have those golden eyes. Was like almost playing around with my hair a little bit and almost making it a little like lighter each season.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, you know, obviously I think that's something I might have to discuss with like
probably you have a contract that says
yeah. But I don't know. That's just something I thought about the other day. I was like, what if I just put a little like lighter stuff in my hair each season? But yeah, no, I think the gray streaks would be really cool. Yeah, looking forward to that. I think it's gonna look badass.
Yeah, the gray streaks, the golden eyes. I like the progressive because I think from reading the books, that's kind of the vibe that Percy gets. Is like every time he sees Luke, he's like, "Oh man, Luke's looking rough. Oh no."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like this, the skin and the hair are fading.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think it'll all add to like just the character though, and feeling more in the body of Luke. Like I know definitely like getting the scar and being in the whole like Camp Half-Blood wardrobe just definitely made me feel like, oh yeah, like I'm Luke right now. You know, I'm not Charlie, I'm Luke.
Right.
And that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for that.
There are cool things ahead for Luke. There are also, if they go canonically by the book, there are uncool things ahead for Luke because according to book 2, he wears a pair of boat shoes, and out of like to each their own, not my style. Are you excited about maybe having to wear boat shoes, or are you hoping that they might take it in a different footwear direction?
I'm actually I hope they take it in that direction. I think it fits Luke. I think it fits his kind of villainous, cocky energy that he has in Sea of Monsters. He definitely steps into his power a bit more, and I'd like to. He almost has this like I'm better than you energy.
Oh yeah,
and I think they describe him as wearing like, you know, like a button down or like khakis and boat shoes, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, he goes full frat bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
at least
bro, like,
I know I'm a little older,
preppy.
but at least in my day of frat bros, it was the Sperry's, it was the polo, it was the glasses with the little thing behind the head. Like it felt very of that vibe. So I would agree with you that if he's stepping into a power trip era, that is the
which he definitely is in Sea of Monsters. He's for sure on a power trip, and that just comes across in his whole demeanor. So yeah, I'm actually. I could definitely see him rocking like a polo and khakis and boat shoes. I'm really excited to see what they do with his wardrobe for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and then you'll literally be on a boat, so the boat shoes fit.
Yes, exactly.
Full cruise ship.
Yeah, it fits. It works. So,
oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So. Speaking of Luke, obviously he's got his trademark clothes, but he's got the trademark sword of Backbiter, which I have joked on my podcast that Backbiter, I always call it the poorly named sword, but it does like fit because it does feel like a sword that the teenage anti-hero, the guy who literally comes back to bite Percy, would name his sword Backbiter. Are you a fan of the name? Would you give it a different name, or are you kind of in the vein of like, it fits, I love Backbiter for Backbiter?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I like Backbiter. I think I like the name Backbiter. It is kind of like nail on the head, you know, it's like pretty, but I think it fits for sure. And I don't know if I would change it necessarily because I think everything, I think everything Rick wrote was perfect. I think he created this world perfectly. I think Backbiter works, you know, because I mean, that's literally what kind of Luke does throughout the whole series. But, if I had to think of another name, I don't know. Do you have anything in mind?
I struggle too, because that's the thing. I always joke about it on the podcast, and then I can never come up with a cooler name or one that actually fits. Like, it's hard to thread the needle of naming something. Like, Riptide is just great because it's cool. It's not too sword-like, but it still sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But then Backbiter is just like, it is too nail on the head to be cool.
I mean, okay. it's half steel, half celestial bronze,
Mm-hmm.
which is almost kind of like, I like to think of it as almost like it symbolizes just like what it means to be a demigod. You know, it's just like one foot in each world, and it's, you know, it's powerful, but it's like dangerous at the same time, which is kind of like all demigods. So I was maybe like Collider.
Ooh, you've done it.
Collider.
That would be great.
Because it's like,
oh my gosh,
bring the worlds together.
I love it. Great, done. We've answered the question of what is the better name for Backbiter. It's Collider. I agree.
I don't know about better, but I think that could be an alternative.
If you were naming it, if you, someone who is different than Luke, was naming it, but Luke, who has made the decision to, you know, just name it super on the nose. No, I like Collider is good.
Collider is pretty cool. It is a cool name. Yeah. I think it works.
And then Riptide versus Collider? Ooh.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that a lot.
No, it is cool. Yeah.
We're just talking ourselves into it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gaslighting ourselves into it. Yeah, no, I think it works though. I think we did it. I think we came up with a good alternative.
Cool. Problem solved. This is cool. Okay. So when I had Walker on the podcast last episode, I asked him a lightning thief round of questions, and I would love to ask you the same lightning round questions, just to see if you've got similar or different answers. And it's all just stuff about the main 5 books. So across the 5 books, who is your favorite creature companion out of Bessie, Blackjack, Rainbow, and Mrs. O'Leary?
Ooh. Mrs. O'Leary was kind of cute. But I think you can't go wrong with Blackjack. I mean, he's just classic. So I'm gonna say Blackjack.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get to, if they go the same route as the book, as Sea of Monsters, you'll get to meet Blackjack next season.
Yeah.
Because Blackjack starts as your Pegasus until, in the book, but then in the next book, he flees.
Yeah. That'll be cool though. But it's cool that we actually got it. I mean, I think it was Blackjack, right? In that very first kind of scene. We got a glimpse of him in the beginning, which is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited to see more of Blackjack for sure. And just all the other characters in the future.
Well, yeah, you're going to get to meet so many creatures on the cruise ship next year, because if you're leading the Titan army, you're going to have Dracani, you're going to have those 2 big twin guys. Like you'll have the big sarcophagus. Like,
Are they I can't remember. I just reread Sea Monsters. I finished it about a week or 2 ago. I'm probably gonna reread it a few more times. But aren't they like bear twins?
I think they're like kind of bear. It's like, I forget their names. I don't want to say Oronus.
Orpheus and
different thing. But
Orpheus and what is it?
I know. I'll just Google real quick. Twin bear guys, Sea of Monsters. Let's see if Google knows what I'm talking. Agrius. Yeah, it's like a bear with wings.
Aureus.
Agrius and Aureus.
Yeah.
The bear twins.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a funny visual. It's just like Luke standing in between. Luke standing in between in his preppy clothes in between these 2 massive bear men. That'll be a funny thing to explore.
And I'm sure for you as an actor, you're going to have to be, I don't know how they'll do it, if it'll be like people in suits or CGI. I feel like for the stuff that you did in season 1, it was mainly just you and other humans on, I guess, except for Glenn on a horse. But aside from that, it's just like you and other people. Have you ever worked with intensive CGI like that? Are you excited for the opportunity to work more with, I guess, like the volume and effects and all that kind of stuff?
Definitely. I mean, what's crazy is like most of the stuff I filmed in season 1 was, like, most of the Camp Half-Blood stuff was not CGI. Like, they literally built those sets in the forest in Vancouver. And most of those cabins they built, and all of Camp Half-Blood, like, most of that was real. So there was not a lot of, like, imagination that we didn't need to use our imagination too much, because it was all just there, which is great. The set design was incredible. And we really, truly felt like we were in Camp Half-Blood. But yeah, I think next season, especially since I'm on, the cruise ship, I doubt I'll actually be on a cruise ship next season when we film. Right. So it'll probably be, on the volume stage or in a studio somewhere. And yeah, since there'll be like a lot of monsters just wandering around, there'll definitely have to be a lot more imagination. I think I'll have to use my imagination a lot more next season, which is fun. But yeah,
it's a fun new challenge.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for that. But yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Prior to, aside from doing kind of that final scene on the volume stage, I haven't really worked with much CGI stuff or VFX, I guess. Like, I know Walker had to do especially for like the Minotaur fight, like that was like a mechanical bull they used, and so
Right.
yeah, that I'm excited to hopefully do stuff like that in the future.
Nice. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next question of this Lightning Thief round. What is the best non-Riptide weapon? So Thalia's Aegis, Nico's Stygian Blade, Grover's Reed Pipes, or your very own Backbiter?
Oh man, I'm biased. Like I want to go with Backbiter, but I feel like that's just too. I feel like that's too basic
easy
for me. In my heart, I'm gonna say Backbiter, but I kind of like Aegis as well. I think it doesn't it. Wait, am I getting this mixed up, or does it have the head of Medusa on it?
It's got the head of Medusa when it's in the shield.
Yeah.
So it's her bracelets, and then it turns into
that's
the shield
cool
with Medusa's head, and that like scares people.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like that, how that works. Like when she like how it goes from bracelet form and then into the shield. That's gonna look really cool. So I think I'll go with that.
Nice. Okay. Now, similar to weapon, but not necessarily a weapon, what is the best non-weapon that is a thrown item? There's two choices. The Guacamole Grande Burrito in the damn snack bar, or it unfortunately gets you in the head pretty good, Rachel Elizabeth Dare's hairbrush.
Yeah, the hairbrush. Yeah. I think the hairbrush, that's like just such a funny moment in the books. That's the moment where we first see Kronos in Luke's body, right?
Right.
And it's just like so menacing and like scary, and then he just gets a hairbrush thrown at him and it hits him in the head.
Thwarted by a hairbrush.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the hairbrush. I'm excited
Nice.
to film that one day.
Yeah, that'll be really fun. Just it's classic Rick Riordan. A super intense action scene, and then a hairbrush steps in. And so, next one. What is the tastiest food-related trap that Percy falls for? So you've got Auntie M's cheeseburgers, you've got the monster donuts from the Hydra at Monster Donut Shop, and then Cersei's strawberry milkshake.
Oh, man. I'm going to say Cersei's strawberry milkshake just because that's coming up next season. So is Monster Donut. I don't know. I'm a huge milkshake lover myself. So
what's your go-to flavor? I'm a big milkshake guy as well.
I love a Neapolitan shake.
Nice. Good call.
Yeah. It's like you get the best of all worlds. Whenever I go to In-N-Out, like I'll usually get a Neapolitan shake as well. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. I don't blame Percy for wanting to take a sip. Like I probably would have done the same, especially if I got to see a better version of myself as I'm about to,
Right. No, totally. I mean, and also strawberry milkshakes in particular, I love them. My go-to is if you get a strawberry milkshake with Oreos in it. So it's like a cookies and cream, but instead of vanilla, it's strawberry. I highly recommend, especially if you like Neapolitan, because that's kind of like all three of the flavors as well, but you get a little more of the strawberry.
That's true. Yeah.
And every time I have a Neapolitan, I'm always like, I wish there was more strawberry. Like, I think it's such an underrated of the trio. I love strawberry stuff. So
yeah, me too.
Me too. My knowledge.
All right. I'll give it a try. Thanks for letting me know.
Oh, happy to let you in on the milkshake insider secrets. Final question. Favorite musical artist that Grover plays on the reed pipes? Hilary Duff, Jesse McCartney, or Mozart?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Mozart.
Nice. Okay.
Classic. Yeah, Mozart. That's it.
Wonderful. Great. Well, that was the Lightning Thief round. Thank you for apologizing. What's fun is I think you answered the same answer every single one as Walker.
Really? No way.
Yes. Oh, damn. I think so. It's pretty good.
Me and Walker are just on that, or just like that. What can I say?
I mean, it seems like it. I mean, when I watched the post-show documentary, the whole behind-the-scenes hero's journey thing that they had on Disney Plus, I think my favorite bit from it was you and Walker perfecting, dapping each other up. It was so funny. Like, it's just such a classic. Like, I remember doing this when I was their age.
Yeah,
like, trying to do the coolest handshake possible.
that was like a daily occurrence on set. Like that every day we would just like, we would not start the scene until we got the perfect dap, which I think was good. Like it helped us connect, before getting into it.
Yeah.
But no, that was fun. I love Walker. He's like one of my best friends.
That's awesome.
And I forget that he's like 4 years younger than me. Like the age gap doesn't even matter because like he's so mature. Like all of them, so mature for their age. And yeah, despite like the age gap that we all kind of have, we all really get along, and we're like such a family.
That's good.
Yeah, just excited to build even more on, get the new characters next season and welcome some more people into the Percy fam. It's gonna be fun. Excited for that.
Yeah. Is there any character in particular you are most excited for? I guess the new folks would be Tyson, Thalia at the very end.
Yeah, Thalia. we get to meet like Charles and Selena too.
Yes, Beckendorf and Selena.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I mean, all of them. I'm definitely excited to see who they cast as Tyson, and then yeah, all of them. I'm very excited to meet all those people.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
And I know we'll only get to meet Dahlia for like a split second, but she'll be in it more next, hopefully, season 3. So
yeah, hopefully. Now, we talked about powerful weapons, but I think something that's even more powerful than Riptide or Backbiter is everyone in the cast using the 0.5x zoom lens on your phones. Because I feel like all of you on social media, every now and then, it'll just pop up like an embarrassing photo of Aryan or Walker and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Do you have any that you're still saving? Is there one of you out there that you're afraid someone is going to post? I just love that you guys are all using it against each other.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff of me out there. Like I'll see pictures of me that get out on the internet that I didn't even know existed. I'm like, man, like where did this come from? Yeah, no, I definitely have some funny pictures that I don't think I've released yet.
Nice.
I have a good 0.5 of Walker that maybe I'll show the screen for a split second.
Oh, nice little preview.
Little preview. I don't know if I released this one. This was like one of my first days on set, I think.
Oh, intense. Right on the forehead.
Right on the forehead. Sorry, Walker. I had to do this to you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I mean, look, I think he's embraced it. He's still rocking the goggle one as his profile picture, at least at the time of recording this.
That's one of my favorite. I took that on the disposable camera. I brought a few of those to set. Oh, this is a cool pic too. I just saw this. This is like a close up of the scar.
Ooh.
This was after
that's an intense one.
Yeah, this was after the capture the flag fight.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was like all sweaty. It was like so warm that day. We were just like fighting all day long.
That's awesome.
But it was so much fun. So much fun.
You mentioned the disposable cameras. I remember you had one at the premiere as well.
Yes.
What photos from that reel? Which ones came out the best? And was there one that came out like laughably bad? Like you tried to take a photo of something, it didn't show up at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun thing about disposable cameras is like you kind of forget what you take and then you have to go get them developed and then you're surprised again. But yeah, there were definitely, I got to say, like a lot of the stuff taken at the premiere didn't turn out too well because I just don't think the lighting was that good.
It was dark.
It was quite dark. Yeah. There's definitely some good ones in there. Let me see. Oh, here's one. It's me, Tess Romero, who played Elena on Diary of a Future President. She plays my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and her in Dior. And they look amazing, but my eyes are like fully just closed in that picture.
No.
So of course I had to go and ruin it. But it's a cool picture.
Is that the one that I took? I took one of you, and I wonder if that was that one.
It could have been.
It was definitely you and Dior. So I'm sorry that I got you mid-bling.
No. That's all good. You definitely might have taken this one for sure. Man, that was such a good night. I had so much fun that night.
It was a good time. It was a really fun one. What was your favorite thing that you ate? Because the food there was unreal, and I probably had 85 pieces of sushi.
Oh my God. I didn't even eat that much.
Just too much going on.
Yeah, there was just too much going on. I think I was just too busy talking for most of the night. Yeah, I don't remember actually eating anything, but I think I definitely remember having like it was like a soda type of drink, and then it had one of those blue light, like ice things that
like a fake ice cube light.
Fake ice, yeah, exactly. But it was really intense. It was like flat. It was so bright, and like every time I passed someone, they were like tweaking out because they were just like, it's so bright. So I just felt embarrassed, and eventually I just put it down because I was like, I feel like I'm just blinding people with this.
Did you take the ice cube home after? Because my wife got one of the drinks and she took the cube out and then nice, perfect, great. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is so bright.
Yeah. Like even now, like, oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, you can get solid flashing it off.
It was at the bottom of the drink though, so I couldn't really grab it then and there. But
yeah. Right. Yeah, I had to kind of be like, Kelly, you're gonna have to drink that pretty quickly. Because I was trying to talk to her and I was like, I am distracted. I feel like my eyesight is gonna be gone by the end of this evening.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So talked a little bit about social media. And in a recent social media post posted on the Percy series account, it had Rick Riordan talking about different props and stuff. And he mentioned something of Luke's and he pronounced Luke what I thought Castellan's last name,
Yeah.
but he said Castellan. And that is rocking the Percy Jackson fan world right now.
Yeah.
People are like, I had no idea. Did you know? Did they say this to you? Or was this also a revelation to you of like, wait, I'm so sorry. That's how I'm supposed to be saying my own last name?
Full transparency, this was a major shock to me as well. I think the first thing I did, same. I've been pronouncing it Castellan this whole time.
Castellan, right?
And that's just how, I thought that was it.
We all did.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
The first thing I did after I saw that post actually was I texted Walker and I was like, I've been pronouncing Luke's last name wrong this whole time. And he was like, oh my God, me too. And we were just freaking out. I remember having debates on set about like Thalia too.
Yeah.
I remember that was a big debate.
That one's been settled though, because at least Rick pronounces it with the th, not the t. So I think that is clear.
And I think that's what even when I read the books for the first time, I think that's what I thought it was as well. I think Thalia is what I went with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember like on set, there was like people were saying Thalia, Talia. Like I heard like Thalia before, and like I heard Thalia once.
Oh,
yeah, there were some that were a little out there, and then same with Castellan. We were like, yeah, is it Castellan? Is it Castellan? Like we never got like confirmation from Rick, like direct confirmation from Rick. But we kind of just like ourselves came to the conclusion that was like, okay, it's Castellan, and then saw that video that Percy series posted recently and just rocked our world. So now I don't know what's true and what's not anymore. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we need Rick to just do a press conference where he just says all of the pronunciations. Because one that I had to come to grips with the TV show was Brunner for Brunner. Because all this time, Mr. Brunner, it's Brunner. So when I read it, I was like, that's Mr. Brunner. And then I watched the movies and they said Brunner some of the times. They said Brunner half the time and Brunner the other half of the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was weirdly inconsistent. I was like, how are they messing this up? And then in the TV show, they said Brunner. And I was like, what is going on? And someone reached out to me and they said that they are friends with, or at least they know of, the actual person whose last name is Brunner that Rick used as the last name, kind of like how some of the names in the books are based on people he knew, like the Stolls, I think, were his students, for example.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the last name or at least the first name of like Travis and Connor are past students that he had, because he had like a small group of kids that he would have read the manuscript to make sure like, hey, people that are of the target age group, do you like the book? Which is great. Like I love the crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
But someone reached out to me and they were like, I know the person who Brunner is named after, and they spell it with two N's, but they pronounce it this way. So I feel like Rick's just got to like get up on a podium and be like, hello, everyone. I'm going to read everyone's name.
Yeah.
And we can all just take official notes and get the biblically accurate pronunciation for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Rick, if you're listening, please do that.
Make it happen.
And then we can all be at ease and all come to agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, peace can be brokered between everyone who's read the books. We don't have to be in the Talia versus Thalia butting of heads.
Well, yeah. Well, I think we've settled that one.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a few things that are up in the air.
Right. And now Luke's last name is one of them that we really got to have a reckoning with.
Yeah.
I'll have to come to grips with the truth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Are there any other fun behind the scenes stories that either you haven't gotten the chance to share or that are particularly noteworthy? I love just any sort of like behind the scenes thing that folks may not have known or may not have heard.
Ooh, I remember, I don't think I've talked about this yet, but I remember getting the scar put on for the first time. I wasn't even filming that day. That was sort of just like a test day. That's when I went to go get all the wardrobe fitting and make sure I had the right Camp Half-Blood shirt. We were figuring out what Luke was wearing, and then I had to go to the hair and makeup trailer, and they were kind of messing around with my hair, and they were testing out the scar. And I remember in the beginning there were probably 3 or 4 different iterations of the scar that they had, but I was on Accutane at the time because I used to struggle with pretty intense acne.
Look, I've been there, man. I still do. I still got prescription acne stuff.
Yeah,
so I know the struggle.
That's good. Yeah, it's not fun, but yeah. My skin and just my lips and everything were so sensitive. But when they were putting on the scar, like they literally had to put like pure alcohol on my face to have it stick, I think. And so it was burning my face so much. But you got to do what you got to do. Like, and it was worth it, of course, in the end. But yeah, I remember that first test day was not. It was fun because I got to see the scar and we got to talk about it and, you know, find the right one that worked. But yeah, they put on like 4 different scars, I think, and just like had to like scrape it off and then put a new one on and like then pour like alcohol on my face.
Well, look, it makes sense. You're getting a scar. It should hurt, you know.
Yeah,
You'll never forget the pain when you got the scar.
By the end, I was like, I don't even know if I'll need a prosthetic scar anymore at this point. I think I'll just have one now.
What did the other ones look like that didn't make the cut? Were they like thicker? Did they have a different shape to them?
Yeah, there was I remember the first one, which I think we actually used on the very first day of filming, and they must have cleaned it up in post-production, because after that first day, I think we switched to like a slightly thinner one. But there was like a really gnarly thick one that they used that looked, I'm glad they went the other direction, because this one definitely, it looked like a new scar. Like it looked like he had just gotten this recently, and it was like really thick and like ran all the way down. It looked cool. Like it was, don't get me wrong, it was really cool. But it was definitely like pretty gnarly. And it was maybe a little distracting even because it was just
too fresh. Yeah,
too fresh, like so intense. It was quite red. And so I think I prefer the final one that we chose.
Nice. Okay, I've got one final question before we go. It's not Percy Jackson related, but in one of your other shows that you did, In the Know, you got to work with one of my improv comedy idols, Zach Woods. What was it like to work with someone that is so ridiculously hilarious?
Oh my God,
on a TV show.
Zach Woods is where to even start? He's awesome. He's amazing. And one of the things that I liked, one of the most enjoyable parts about working on In the Know was like I would literally arrive to the studio and me, Zach Woods, and Brandon Gardner, we would just like sit down and talk for like 30 minutes to an hour. We would just talk about like life and the character, you know, all this stuff. And they would like give me like advice about I would like tell them stuff going on in my life, and they would give me advice, and then we'd be like, oh shoot, we should probably like get to work. Yeah, but he's so funny, and he's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. He's on another level. But yeah, just being in the studio with him and watching him do his thing, like he's so talented and his improv skills are off the charts. Like it was insane. He would just, every take he came up with something different. And I was like, how are you even doing this? And each time it was hilarious. And we were trying our best not to just break out laughing hysterically. But yeah, he's so cool. I love Zach Woods so much. He's awesome.
It's good. I'm glad to hear that he's a good guy as well.
Yeah. He's a great guy. And I'm a massive fan of his too, because I mean, The Office is one of my favorite shows, and obviously he was in The Office. He played Gabe. Again, he's awesome. In case you didn't already.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad to hear you're an Office fan, since I opened the interview with the quote of first of all, how dare you? I was like, oh man, I hope he gets that this is a joke and doesn't think I'm just starting this interview in the most aggressive way possible.
No, not at all. No. I got you.
Awesome. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for taking the time and being on the podcast. This was an absolute delight. This is normally where I let the guests promote things that they've got going on. Ooh. Anything you want to shout out to the folks, I guess, aside from the very obvious season 2, whenever that comes through?
Yeah, just keep an eye out for season 2. Or I know I haven't gotten any official dates yet, so I don't know exactly when we're going back, but hopefully soon, hopefully in the next few months. And we're definitely doing our own prep, reading through the books again and everything. And just thank you to the fans for all the continuous support. We love you guys so much, and you guys are the best. And thank you so much for having me on today.
No problem.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I've had a good time as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And, until we cross paths again, I'll pursue you later.
That was good. I'll pursue you later.
Hey.
All right.
What a guy. What a chat. What a good time. Speaking of time, it's time for some updates. But real quick, you can watch the video version of this interview if you go to the TNO YouTube. Just search for The Newest Olympian or go to youtube.com/@newestolympian. And then also, thanks to Charlie and everyone else who made this interview possible. Now, update time. But first, I want to thank all of you for listening to this episode, especially if you are new. If you are new, hello, I'm Mike. It's so nice to meet you. If you are interested in other interviews, I've interviewed Walker Scobell. I've interviewed Gio or Goodjohn. I've interviewed some people involved in production in the show. And if you are interested in other stuff, well, you're also in luck, because most episodes of this podcast are me making my way through the Percy Jackson books for the very first time. And that is the plan going forward. The plan now going forward is to continue coverage of the Heroes of Olympus saga. I am currently making my way through The Lost Hero, and the next episode will be with Kelly Schubert, and we will be discussing chapter 4. And then after that episode, we will be back on our normal schedule where we will be covering 2 chapters per episode, which is every single time the perspective switches from Leo to Piper to Jason, etc. If you want to be in the know about what kind of things to expect, because I'm way ahead recording-wise, if you want to get sneak peeks about who the upcoming guests are and stuff like that, you can head on over to the TNO Patreon at thenewestolympian.com/Patreon. That's where you also get access to a whole bunch of bonus content and bonus items. You can get merch like stickers and pins, and you can also get bonus episodes and director's commentary. The bonus episode that is going to be up on the Patreon next is another one of the going through old live show Q&A questions. It was a fun one that I did last month, and I want to do it again for this month, just finding some old questions that were never asked in past live shows for the Newest Olympian. And speaking of live shows, I am happy to announce that we've added a new show to the 2024 tour, aka 2020 tour. We are coming to the East Bay in California. We've got a show in Berkeley. I'm very excited. I lived in the Berkeley, Oakland area for 7 months, so it's nice to return. We are coming there on August 3rd, and the other shows that we have coming up are in Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver, BC, and Nashville, Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia. Those are throughout July and August, so I would head on over to thenewestolympian.com/live if you want to get tickets, and you can head on over to leakycon.com if you want to see me at LeakyCon Portland, which is July 5th through 7th. I am going to be doing stuff for the Newest Olympian and for my Harry Potter podcast, Potterless, and it should be a generally fun time. So that's all that's going on in the near future for me. And I mentioned the Patreon earlier, so I want to give a shout out to the folks who have joined the Patreon most recently. So shout out to our newest Ultra God Tier patron, Han Haley Hingelheimer Schmidt. Shout out to our newest God Tier patron, Josh Hass. And shout out to our newest Demigod Tier patron, Mary Rose. Thank you all so much for your support. May Melano, or Melanoe, bless you, that whenever you get to play Hades 2, the video game, which I think is coming out on early access very soon, that you do well. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play. I didn't get in the technical test, but I want to get into early access. Oh, baby. Now, if you're all caught up on the Newest Olympian and you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, I make a whole bunch of podcasts, and I'm very biased, but I think they're very good, and I think you would enjoy them. And one that is very good that I think you would enjoy is Meddling Adults. Meddling Adults is a podcast game show for charity. I host. Guests compete to solve children's mysteries from classics like Scooby-Doo, Encyclopedia Brown, and more, and whoever wins earns money for a charity of their choosing. We've done 4 full seasons so far. Season 5 is currently in the works. We've raised a bunch of money for charity. We've covered a lot of different mystery series, and it has been an overall really fun time. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts by searching for Meddling Adults or going to meddlingadults.com, and you can play along at home and see if you beat the people on the show. Fun times! Now, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get ad-free episodes, now you're going to hear some words from sponsors who make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me, such as from the TNO Coffee collaboration with Straight River Coffee that you can get at thenewestolympian.com/merch. And others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in Mexico, don't be surprised if you hear an ad in Spanish. But once those ads are complete, we will get into the rest of this episode of The Newest Olympian, which will be the outro, ASMR mic, and a hype up about what episode is coming next. Hi, thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is normally Sherry Guo, but I edit the interview episodes like this one. The music is by Bettina Campomanes and Brandon Krugel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you enjoy the show and you can't get enough, you can head on over to thenewestolympian.com/Patreon, and you can get access to a whole bunch of bonus content. You can also find us on social media. We're at Newest Olympian on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and there's a subreddit, reddit.com/r/thenewestolympian. down. If you want to support the show with some TNO merch, you can go to thenewestlympian.com/merch. And if you want to see if we've got a live show coming to a city near you, head on over to thenewestlympian.com/live. I mentioned that Patreon earlier. Let's give a shout out to our producer level patrons: Kelsey Gillespie, The Damn Steam Nuggets, Vicky Garcia, Veronica Bartova, Frida Vikstrom, Megan Moon, Craig McRoberts, Taylor Payne, Sabrina Balsiger, Boney Pony, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sandra Rose, Josh Sayer, Josh Wilkie, Abby Ryan, Ashton Gabrielson, Marco Redhouse, Sam Sambribi, Riley Kiddes, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkopf, Julia Kendall, Rickey, John Drielsma, Rayla Matthews, Luna Kadoon, Sky Mallory, Per Sasabeth, Aiden Parziani, Biggest Tyson Fan, King Bastion, One Damn Distraction Coming Up, Ginger Spurs Boy, A Cup of Solace, Meg Roy, Olivia Krinicki, Bradamus Prime, Kibo Guy, Skylar Sisters, Demigod Nurse, Zachary Hamilton, Scott Sheldon, Sophie, Natanya Page, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Finley McLeod, Sarah Elise Arnson, Bella, Hayden Neal, Percy Jackson, and Han Haley Hingelheimer Schmidt. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, word of mouth helps the podcast so much. Whether you reach out to someone directly and say, hey, there's this podcast called The Newest Olympian. It's about Percy Jackson. I think you would really like it. Whether that person is a Percy Jackson superfan or someone you're trying to convince to get into the books. You can also just talk about the show on social media. That helps. You could even just leave a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using. All of these things really help. I appreciate everyone who has already done so, and I appreciate anyone who will do so in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode, where we will be joined by my wife, Kelly Schubert, to discuss Chapter 4 of The Lost Hero. But until then, I'll pursue you later. Hey, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mike. So I was going through voice memos on my phone, and I realized I never posted audio from when I saw the eclipse. I went up to Buffalo, New York to visit a friend and see the eclipse. And here is the audio clip of when the eclipse actually began, and me and my friend Caroline's excitement.
Oh my, oh shit. It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. I think, oh, let's go! Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you so much for listening.